Hi, welcome Purushottam and Simran. So today we are going to get started with data analysis foundations for our project Automotive Consumer Intelligence. Okay, we have already discussed in the previous round where we discussed about the automotive, consumer study by Deloitte, and we already had a discussion around it that what Deloitte is doing and how they are trying to collect information across 27 automotive markets, and they were understanding what are the changes in consumer buying trends in terms of affordability, in terms of trust, in terms of electric vehicle adoption and various other in terms of adoption of AI and connectivity of the apps and security around that. So now we are taking this case study of Deloitte Global Consumer Study for automotive markets, and we are going to get started with implementation of all the foundations concept around it, and later we are going to build a minimum viable product or a proof of concept around it. Okay, that is what is the objective. So before we go ahead, I would like to just show you how the journey would look like as we progress further. And by the end of this document, which would be a couple of days roadmap for us, so we have to walk around this roadmap, and what would be the outcome of that roadmap, I just want to show you in a minute. Okay. So this is just a sample. Eventually, we will be implementing a lot more than what I will be showing you here. But this is just to give you a gist of what all is expected to accomplish in a couple of sessions from now, while we will be implementing this project. Okay. So we will be implementing automotive consumer analytics, and we will be implementing data analyst foundations across this study from Deloitte. So we have a data set known as Automotive Consumer Analytics Learning Dataset, and I have already shared this dataset with you on WhatsApp. Okay. So we will be using a dataset. We'll understand how what the dataset contains, and then we are going to implement some foundations across it. Okay. So we will implement how the data set looks, what is the shape of the data set, what are the columns, what are the data types in that data set. We are going to understand that. Okay. Then as soon as we progress further, we'll have an understanding of how will we deal with missing values, how will we deal with duplicate values, and how will we deal with validation across this data. Okay. Followed by moving further, we will be implementing frequency table and percentages, okay, across different types of products, automotive products, which are on sale. Okay. Similarly, we are going to perform filtering and selecting, which means filtering of data across different regions or across different parameters, like what is the preferred next engine, would it be an electric engine, or would it be a petrol engine, or would it be a hybrid engine? So all of that analysis we are going to do. Okay. You'll implement data analysis foundations of, let's say, sorting. How will you be performing descriptive statistics around this data set? Okay. Then you will understand mean, median, mode, range, and standard deviations, which are the base important concepts, in exploratory data analysis. The very first step which we do after we get a sample is exploratory data analysis. And that exploratory data analysis has these some important concepts: mean, median, mode, range, and standard deviation, which we are going to implement. Okay. So we will understand these concepts and we will implement them. Then you'll do various other functions like group by, okay, aggregations with multiple key performance indicators across this data set. Followed by, you will understand how cross tabulation can be done. Okay. Then you will understand pivot tables. So these concepts we would be implementing. You will have an understanding of how derived columns and feature engineering works. Okay. You'll have an understanding of how KPIs can be measured, and how will you be building a charging infrastructure gap? How will you be identifying the performance indicators across this, electric charging infrastructure gap? So that is what we are going to implement, and we are going to understand. Similarly, we will perform outlier detection using techniques like IQR. So that is what we are going to implement. Followed by, we'll be performing visualizations. So let's say here is one visualization with EV intention by market. So how the EV intention rate looks across different countries, let's say across China, Germany, South Korea, Asia, India. So all of these we are going to get started with implementation. Okay. Then you'll understand different types of charts and graphs which can be plotted. Also, I'm going to share a book with you, which is a fantastic book which contains all different types of charts possible in this world. Okay. So as a data analyst, your USP, your differentiator would be how can you explain that information, large set of information in a graphical representation to non-technical stakeholders, those who could be CEOs and CFOs of, large organizations. So if you understand what different types of graphs can be built, so there is a book around it. I'm going to share that book with you, and then you will be implementing it. Okay. So here is one example of stacked bar chart, which you will, refer across which country, what kind of engines are referred or preferred. Okay. Similarly, you'll understand some base information like correlation, confidence intervals, okay, chi-square test. So these will be technical data analysis tests which we would be performing across data, like trust score with t-test, then rule-based segmentation, logistic regression, predictive modeling, all of that will be done. So this is predictive analytics, which you are observing as of now. Okay. And then how will you turn analysis into a business recommendation? And this means prescriptive analytics. How will you prescribe your information to the business? Okay. How will business buy your recommendation? And why should they trust on the recommendation which you guys are making? Okay. So this is like a base journey of what you all have to implement so far out of this project in order to implement the foundations and gain more confidence around data analysis. Okay. I believe this is clear. So this is what we are going to implement as soon as we progress further, and you're going to understand each and every concept around it. I believe this is clear. So now we are clear with the path that what are we are going to cover in the next few days. As soon as possible, we have to cover up all of these concepts. Okay. And this will be the guide which we will be referring to. This will be our base roadmap, and eventually our roadmap would be a little different from what I have shown to you, because what I've shown you is an idealistic implementation. But while we will be implementing, we'll be doing a lot of discussions, and we will be implementing things across the new ideas and new intelligent thoughts which come across this project. So we'll be implementing that. I believe this is clear. So let's get started. So now what we are going to do, so I've shared a data set with you, and in this data set, what you have is you have 3,500 row. This is a synthetic data set as of now, which we have built on the basis of 2026 Global Automotive Consumer Study. Okay. So this is what we are going to consider, and this is what we are going to build. Okay. Now, so what is the learning roadmap and what are we going to cover? So in this program, we are going to cover business and data foundations. So you have to understand what are the business problems, what are the observations, what are the variables, how variables are created, what are different data types possible, population, sample, survey structure. All of this you're going to learn. Then you are going to learn the second module across this document would be data quality. Okay. So how will you ensure that you create quality data before you start analyzing it? So you will be taking care of missing values, duplicates, validation rules, inconsistent categories, and structural missingness. Okay. So this will help you generate your data in a qualitative data format so that we can start analyzing the data. Okay. Then what you have is we will perform our core analysis. So in the core analysis, we will cover filtering. Let me just mark it here. So we will be covering these concepts. We'll cover filtering, we'll cover sorting, we'll cover frequency tables, we'll cover descriptive statistics, group by, aggregation, cross tables, and pivot tables. Okay. These are certain concepts which we are going to cover in core analysis section. Then we will be working towards feature engineering and KPIs. Okay. And, we will be implementing, let's say, derived columns. Yeah. So we will be working, let's say, with derived columns. We'll be working with quartiles, segmentation, charging gaps, and retention metrics. Okay, so these will be some key performance indicators and feature engineering. So the kind of variables or features which are available in the data set, on the basis of that, we are going to perform data engineering across it. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. Then in fifth module, we will perform visual and statistical analysis. Okay, so which means we will be generating charts. We will make correlation matrix, which is an important aspect of understanding different columns and how each column is dependent on each other and what is the impact of each column on each other. Okay, so that is what we are going to do with correlation. Then you will understand confidence intervals, you will understand chi-square, you will understand t-tests. Okay, so this is what will help us perform visual and statistical analysis. Okay, and this in fact comes under descriptive and diagnostic analysis. So that is what we are going to do here. Followed by, you will implement predictive analytics, where we will implement logistic regression. This is the algorithm which we are going to take. Okay, we are going to perform train test split, which is an 80-20 rule, which we are going to implement. How are we going to divide our data set into a training data and testing data? And then what are the results which are coming on the basis of that data in order to perform prediction across this 2026 global automotive consumer study. Okay. We will be implementing confusion metrics in order to calculate, what are the true positives, what are the true negatives, and how our accuracy, precision, recall is identified. And all of these metrics like accuracy, precision, average precision, recall, we are going to calculate all of those model metrics and we'll see how well our model is performing. Okay. So apart from data analysis, where we will do descriptive analytics and diagnostic analysis, we'll also do predictive analytics. Okay. And followed by last step, you will have business communication, which will be your prescriptive analytics, which means on the basis of your observation, what insights have you got? What recommendations are you making? And what measurable action would you want the automotive organizations to take on the basis of this study? Okay. Then they will be able to prescribe your recommendation. I believe this is clear. So this is the plan. Okay. So across this project and example, we got a data set now, and we are going to implement these 7 modules, which includes our descriptive analytics, diagnostic analysis, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics, which we discussed on day 1. Okay. I believe this is clear now. So this is what we are going to implement. So how are we moving ahead in this category? So if I quickly show you, so now you can see we are already clear with what is the business question. Okay. So the business question is clear, and let me type you here. So the business question is, what are the consumer trends? What are the consumer trends across 27 automotive markets, in terms of, let's say, affordability, trust, electric vehicle adoption, security, connectivity apps, and AI. Okay. So this is what is the question. Okay. So what are the consumer trends? And this is who wants to know that? Automotive companies would want to know this. Okay. So that they can target the right markets and sell more cars depending on whatever is the consumer demand and make more profits out of it. Okay. So on day 1, yesterday, we have already discussed about what is the business question. Okay. In case if you want to refer, I have already shared the video of yesterday's session with you. You can go back and refer that case study. I have also shared the case study with you. I've shared the document with you. Also, I have shared, the discussion video. So you can refer that again so that you are clear that what is the business question. Okay. Why do we need this analysis? Okay. So we are already clear with the business question, that what are we trying to achieve. The second step is collect data. Okay. So I've already shared the data set with you, which is in Excel format, which is available on your WhatsApp. You can download it on your local machine. Then we will upload it on Google Colab and we are going to start execution, okay, on this data. So what is the objective? The objective is, since we already have the data, we are going to clean and validate the data. That is what is the objective. We are going to analyze the data. We are going to visualize that data. We are going to make recommendations around that data. And then we are going to measure the impact of those actions which are done across these recommendations. Okay. Purushottam and Simran, I believe this is clear. So as a data analyst, initially what should be clear? The business question should be clear. That what is the business problem which you are solving? Okay. And your business question will define what value will you generate. I believe you are clear now. So if you will start solving bigger problems in life, eventually you will be able to create more value. Okay. And you are already clear that how will you make more value? You will always make more value by performing descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. And what do you mean by prescriptive analytics? When your insights are ready to be recommended, ready to be prescribed to a business, and you shall be able to measure the impact of those insights. That is what you have to build. Okay. And that is where the majority business value stands. I believe you're clear. So you have to perform descriptive analytics. And as soon as you move up the ladder, you'll do diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive analytics. And the major chunk of money which you want for your life is at prescriptive analytics. Okay. So at descriptive analytics, we have pennies. Then as soon as we go up the ladder, we, can reach out to where the jackpot is. So treat it like a game. This is a game. You can consider it like a snake and a ladder game where you are going to put your, dices. You're going to move from 1 to 100. And there would be a number of errors which might come, which are snakes, which will eventually bring you back to the previous stages. And then again, you have to iterate back from there and move on to the next. Okay. Till you reach 100. Okay. I believe this is clear. So consider this data analysis as a snake and ladder game where you would start your journey from the business question. Okay. That what is the business question which we are solving? And we are solving a business question for Deloitte, for a Deloitte-like company who's doing a study across 27 different markets, across different countries. Okay. So start thinking big. That is what you should have. That is what would be your differentiator among your peers who will be, available to get hired as a data analyst by these organizations. So how would you stand out? You would stand out by the differentiated thought processes which you have. I believe this is clear. Now, so हमें क्या करना है? We have collected the data. We are going to clean, analyze, visualize, recommend, and measure the impact. That is what we are going to do. Let's move on to the next. I believe this stage is clear that what all we are going to perform. Now, started with the real world business project, which we have to implement. Okay. So now you're clear that we are going to implement this project across here. And what this says, the real world business project says, an automotive company, they wants to decide, okay? They want to decide which markets, powertrains, charging services, connected features, purchase channels, and service improvements deserve investment. Okay, I believe this is clear. So what these companies want to know? They want to know the following. Okay, an automotive company wants to know which market, which powertrains, which charging services, what connected features, purchase channels, and service improvements are there where we should start investing money. Is that clear? Investing money means what all we should build and sell to the consumers. Because every stage of a business, which you say either value, marketing, sales, support, delivery, accounts, everywhere money is required to run that, to run that component of the business. So whenever you get a problem, you're going to get a problem like this. Okay, we want to, invest, let's say, $100 billion or $1 billion. Where are we going to invest $1 billion in the next quarter? Okay, so many times you would have heard news like Facebook is investing this $1 billion, or Amazon is investing $1 billion to build FDs, future deployed, forward deployed engineers, and all of that. So before they decide anything, they do a data analysis. Okay. And you would have to do it as soon as you guys progress further. So here we are going to take a synthetic data set. So our current data set contains 3,500 synthetic consumers. Okay. So we have the original study has 28,500 consumers. Okay. In our data set, we have around 3,500 consumers. Okay. And these consumers are across 8 markets. Okay. We are not taking 27 markets as of now. Okay. We are only taking 8 markets in the data set. And this data set has across 26 variables. Okay. Which means it has 26 columns or 26 features. Okay. I believe this is clear. So, जो डेटा सेट में कॉलम्स होते हैं उन्हें हम वेरिएबल्स भी बोलते हैं, और उन्हें हम जो कॉलम्स होते हैं डेटा सेट के अंदर, इन कॉलम्स को हम वेरिएबल्स भी बोलते हैं और फीचर्स भी बोलते हैं. ठीक है, these are the same names. Okay, so in case if somebody asks you what features have you taken in your data set for this analysis, तो उसका मतलब है कि वो तुमसे पूछना चाह रहा है कि भाई आपके कौन कौन से कॉलम्स हैं, आपके पास कॉलम्स में क्या क्या डेटा है. ठीक है, आई बिलीव दिस इज क्लियर. कौन कौन से कॉलम्स आपने कंसिडर किए हैं डेटा एनालिसिस करने के लिए. सो हमें एक चीज समझ में आ गई कि हम जो डेटा एनालिसिस करने वाले हैं उसमें हमारे पास 3,500 सिंथेटिक कंज्यूमर्स हैं, हमारे पास 8 डिफरेंट मार्केट्स हैं, और हमारे पास 26 डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ वेरिएबल्स हैं जो हमें प्रोसेस करने हैं. ठीक है, यू आर क्लियर विद दिस. और ये अब हम डेटा सेट के अंदर देखेंगे कि हमारे पास क्या क्या है. ठीक है, नाउ अब ये जो हम डिसीजन लेने वाले हैं, ठीक है, अक्रॉस डिफरेंट एरियाज फॉर दिस कंपनी, एंड कंसिडर दिस कंपनी कुड बी एनीथिंग लाइक BMW, Volvo और एनीथिंग. ओके, इट कुड बी एनीथिंग. लेट्स से BMW हो सकती है, BYD हो सकती है, टेस्ला हो सकती है, ठीक है, ऑडी हो सकती है, एनी कंपनी. लेट्स से मर्सिडीज हो सकती है, या मारुति भी हो सकती है. ठीक है, हुंडई हो सकती है. Okay, any of these companies could be there. You might be working for any of those organizations for Deloitte, and these could be the customers of Deloitte. ठीक है, आप तो काम कर रहे हो Deloitte में, लेकिन Deloitte के पास एक प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट आएगी. ठीक है यार, there is a car dealer, there is a car manufacturer who wants this information, और Deloitte ने आपको बोला ऐसा बच्चे सिमरन एंड पुरुषोत्तम, you have to do this study. ठीक है, so we are providing you 3,500 consumers across 8 different countries, and you will have all of this data, or these would be the business areas, and these are the decisions which we want to make. So you have to analyze with the data set. You have to analyze the data set and tell us these decisions. Okay. So what do you help? Where do you have to help these businesses? You have to help them decide. Okay. ये सारी मेहनत डेटा एनालिसिस की किस लिए हो रही है? सो दैट यू कैन हेल्प देम डिसाइड. डिसाइड मीन्स you need data analysis so that you can take relevant decision. Okay, why is data analysis required? The objective of data analysis is to take a decision. Okay, and this is known as controlled controlled decision or controlled risk taking. Okay, because you have done an analysis, and on the basis of that analysis you are going to make a decision. So now you understand how important it would be, how important the data analyst role could be in an organization, because it can eventually ruin the fortune of an organization. मान लो उन्होंने आपके पास स्टडी करा ली, ठीक है, Hyundai ने, और आपने Hyundai को गलत स्टडी दे दी. आगे पता चला Hyundai बिजनेस से ही गायब हो गई, खत्म हो गई कंपनी, बिकॉज दे ट्रस्टेड योर एनालिसिस and they made a wrong judgment, and then they invested full on it, and then they lost. Okay. So that is why it is very, very important that we will make good data analysis and with the right evidence and with the right information. I believe this is clear. ठीक है, अब देखो, अब कौन कौन से बिजनेस एरिया के अक्रॉस हम ये स्टडी करने वाले हैं. ठीक है, सो वी विल स्टडी अक्रॉस दीज 6 डिफरेंट एरियाज. ओके, दीज आर द एरियाज जिसके अक्रॉस हमें डिसीजन मेकिंग करनी है. सो द कंपनी who Deloitte is helping would want to take decisions across electrification, charging, brand retention, digital sales. Digital sales means online sales, sales through Twitter, social media, and all of that. Okay? I mean, making an awareness around it. Software defined vehicles and service trust. Okay? So you have the same data set, and across that data set, you could, analyze different business areas, and then you can make recommendations across it. I believe you are clear. So जो हमारे पास डेटा सेट है उसमें जो हम बिजनेस एरियाज के लिए डिसीजन के लिए हेल्प करने वाले हैं इन कंपनीज को एज अ Deloitte data analyst. So we will be focusing on electrification, charging, brand retention, digital sales, software defined vehicles, and service trust. ठीक है, I believe this is clear. So अब हमें इसमें करना क्या क्या होगा. पहली चीज हम ये देखेंगे, जब हम इलेक्ट्रिफिकेशन स्टार्ट करेंगे, सो वी वुड इवेंचुअली वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि कंपनी इसमें से किस टाइप की इंजन को प्रमोट करेगी. ठीक है, द कंपनी शुड प्रमोट विच टाइप ऑफ इंजन, BEV, PHEV, HEV और ICE. Okay, let's do one thing. Let us just quickly come to Google and let's put it here. What is BEV, PHEV, HEV, and ICE? Okay, so देखो, so BEV stands for, let me just clear it. So BEV stands for your battery electric vehicle. Okay, so the first decision should be across, should we promote a battery electric vehicle, a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, a hybrid electric vehicle, or an internal combustion engine. Okay, so internal combustion engine is those who are run by gas powered or by fossil fuels like petrol or diesel using combustion techniques. ठीक है, और hybrid electric vehicles और plug-in hybrid electric vehicles और battery electric vehicles. ठीक है, इसके अक्रॉस हमें पहला डिसीजन मेकिंग करना है. I believe this is clear. Okay, क्लियर है ये बात अक्रॉस इलेक्ट्रिफिकेशन कि हमें कौन सी गाड़ी को प्रमोट करना है, and there would be certain columns around. Okay, so we will continue this discussion in the next session from here.